Hello. Hey. So this is going to be a video on efficiency specifically. I'm going to go over the top things that you could possibly do to stop wasting so much time in the game and to get ahead. Get a character that's deep into red maps, able to solo all the content, you know, kill Maven, etc., without having to worry about all the lost time that you could have spent doing things that were better for you. The first thing I want to go over is actually a loot filter. I see a lot of people walking around with loot filters that are of regular strictness or so, and they're already in yellow maps, whereas the people who are far in the game don't even start with a regular filter. They start with like semi-strict and maybe edit some things into there for like, you know, a situation where they're league starting and they need to find orbs of transmutation where normally they wouldn't be picking them up. So you want to make sure that your loot filter isn't going to show things that are not worth your time. And you can find a lot of loot filters online that are made by content creators themselves. They have their own custom sound packs, which can actually make it really fun. But when you're into maps, you don't want to be picking up things like orbs of transmutation, right? These are useless at this point in the game. Once you start selling the things that you're picking up anyways and clearing out your dump tab, which I'll go over later, you're going to be getting orbs of transmutation either way. So that's useless. Same thing as picking up singular orbs of alchemy. Things like that. So glass blowers, baubles, once you get quality on all your flasks, these are useless to pick up. They're like 4 for 1C, right? That's 4 times you have to click on the ground for a tiny currency that is not going to give you any benefit other than having to sell it and take time to sell, you know, 20 at a time for somebody's flask. You can actually make your own filter as well using filterblade.xyz. It was made by Neversink, where he has a bunch of presets that you can use as well. They go from like regular to uber strict Gaia plus or something like that. It's actually like it's pretty good. The presets are pretty good, I won't lie, but I spent a lot of time customizing my own with colors based on what I, you know, deem to like make it of importance. Like if an exalted orb drops, I want it to be the colors that I'm going to see the most, you know what I mean? A mirror shard, anything like that. Having a perfect loot filter for you is really helpful, and customizing them really isn't hard. Let me know if you want to see a video on how to actually customize yours and how I customize my own. The next thing I would say is movement speed boots are so undervalued by so many players who don't know how much faster they move with them on. The value that it gives you is for every second your character is moving, you are moving that much faster, saving that many seconds. So, you know, 30% movement speed. If you move for 30 seconds, instead it takes a second off. So every 30 seconds, you know, you're getting 1 second off, or however the math works out on that. Something similar, you know what I mean? Another thing would be killing monsters. When you are going through the acts, or when you're finishing your maps, you don't want to go into a map, right? Let's say you're in tier 4 maps, and you grab an arcade, and you throw it in, you start it, and you see that it says more than 50 monsters remain. And you want to make sure that number goes down to 0 because you want to get every drop you can. Well, if you already dropped another map that's a tier higher, you could then be on to tier 5 maps, you know, cells. You could be on a forking river, moving into red maps very quickly. If you stop taking the time to kill every single monster, just alch your map and go. That's it. Alch and go is probably one of the most efficient strategies you can possibly do while mapping. It is absolutely crucial, my friends. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the hideout is lava. Get out of the hideout whenever you notice that you are spending a lot of time in it. Have your builds pre-planned out so you don't have to sit and like debate over, oh, do I want this node or do I want this node? Do I need to go for this first? Do I have to go all the way over here? You know, do this thing, that thing. Which jewel do I want to put here? Like, just know what you want to do with your character. Know which uniques you need. Know which items you're going to have to craft or buy on the trade side, as I do. Know which flasks you need. And speaking of flasks, Quicksilver Flask with Adrenaline is more movement speed. Very useful. Just to segue into the next thing. Quicksilver Flasks are absolutely amazing. This is literally like wearing 2 pairs of Bis boots. Like, the movement speed difference between this and not having this is absurd. It is absolutely absurd how much faster you move when you use a Quicksilver Flask. I highly recommend always using at least one. I see a lot of people walking around who are new to the game who don't understand how much value there is in spending your time quickly doing things. But back to the hideout is lava thing. You want to make sure that your trades are being done fast. You want to make sure that if somebody messages you, wait till they're in your hideout, grab the item out of your dump tab. Okay, some dude wanted to buy the contract repository. He comes in here, I trade. accept, put the money in, and go back into the map. What you can do to help you with that, with the hideout being lava, is set affinities, which are actually new. You can click up here and enable tab affinities. This only works if you have the public tabs, the, you know, RMTing, if you will. You grab enable tab affinities, and then you can right click on each of your things. So this is my currency, so I'll like type currency here, right? So you right click on this. You don't need it to be public if you're not going to be selling things from here. And you enable this right here. So if I have this off, and I'm, hold on, and I'm not on this tab, those prime sextants go into my dump tab here. But if I come over here and I enable the affinity, and I come over here, they're not in here. They went back to my currency tab, which is absolutely unreal. It is such a massive upgrade from how it used to be, where you would have to like go through each separate thing. You can also create folders. I recommend having all the ones that you can buy just in one folder here for like super easy navigation, and then just your dump tabs wherever, your trade tab wherever, it doesn't really matter, and then just a bunch of extras. But having all of these organized and knowing your own layout for your stash, like you see that I don't have any of these named other than like the last 4 here because I just can't be asked to unname them. I know the colors for each one. So like I know this one's Blight. I know this color's Essence. So I can navigate it faster instead of having the whole thing typed out, having to move over on the list here, clicking the arrows and things like that. And once again, having your build planned out in advance is another really, really, really big time saver, especially on like a league start scenario. If you want to be one of the 1% who get ahead and end up making exalts before everybody else, you want to make sure that you know your own stash layout. Another thing with the stash layout is, you notice how I have Tane right next to my stash here, and that is because when I'm going to vendor all of my 6-socket items, which if you don't know, if you vendor a 6-socket item, you get 7 jewelers. It helps a lot. I have like, how many at this point? 3,500 at this point. He is the only NPC left in the game who, if you control click on him, it immediately brings you to the sell tab, which is just, you know, it doesn't seem like it saves a lot of time, but when you do this 100 times a day, and you have to like click on him, sell items, and then you come over here instead of just control clicking and coming in, you are saving so much time by doing that. It is absurd. So it's all of the small things that I've mentioned, you know, boots, flasks, everything adds up. Do your trades faster. Make sure that people are in your hideout before, because a lot of people like to, you know, they whisper without being prepared. So they're like, oh, hold on, I got to go get the exalted orb from a friend, or I got to go sell my chaos orbs for an exalted orb, etc., and then I'll be ready to trade you. But you're already sitting in your hideout. You wasted a portal, and you're sitting there with your thumb up your butt, just waiting. You know what I mean? That's not fun. But yeah, let me know if you want to see a video on creating your own loot filter. You can change the colors. You can make it interesting. You can actually create custom sounds as well into your loot filter. So you can have like a sound engineer actually give you sounds. You can find them online. You can do like little fun voice filters. Or again, you can go to filterblade.xyz. It is NeverSync's website. And pick one from there, download it, and see it. You can go to like specific presets where it'll show you exactly how, like, what they're going to be showing. But yeah, those are the top tips for efficiency that I could think of. If you can think of anything else, let me know in the comments. I will try to pin it, or, you know, make something in the description that brings up everything else that I missed. Thank you guys. Peace.